Hey there, welcome over here to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be showing you some of my family's favorite casserole recipes that only have about 5 ingredients besides spices, so they are so extraordinarily easy to throw together and they're delicious, so I hope you enjoy it. Let's go hop over to my kitchen and start cooking. To kick us off today, we are making this ultra easy enchilada casserole. I think you might like this one. So to begin, you'll want about 4 cups of shredded chicken. You could use a rotisserie chicken or boil your chicken on the stove and then shred it from there. But I just chose to boil mine up in the Instant Pot, so I added about 3 frozen chicken breasts with a cup of water, set my valve to sealing, and I cooked this on high pressure for about 25 minutes with a quick release. Here it is after those 25 minutes. I shredded it up in a bowl, so now I have my shredded chicken. To the chicken, you are going to want to add about 2 tablespoons of any type of taco seasoning you like, and then go ahead and stir this all together. Now it's time to assemble our enchiladas. I have 28 ounces of green chili enchilada sauce. Of course, you could use more or less enchilada sauce depending on your preference. I poured a little bit of that enchilada sauce to the bottom of my 2-quart casserole dish, put a layer of corn tortillas on top of that, and now I'm spreading sour cream all over the top of those corn tortillas. Next, you'll add a little bit of the shredded chicken and then sprinkle the top with Monterey Jack cheese, or you could use pepper jack cheese, whatever your preference is. I did a total of 3 layers. This will bake covered with foil in a preheated oven to 375 degrees for about 35 minutes, and then uncover it and bake it for an additional 15 minutes. Here is the finished product. I topped mine with plenty of sour cream, cherry tomatoes, lime, cilantro, and iceberg lettuce, but just top yours with your favorite toppings. This meal comes together in no time at all, and it's delicious. This is going to make all of my pasta lover friends out there happy. We are making a baked tortellini casserole. To begin, in my pan right here, I'm adding a pound of mild Italian sausage. I'm removing the casings from the sausage, and then to the sausage you will add 1 diced up white onion, and then crumble the sausage up and cook it completely through. Once it is cooked through, remove any of the excess grease. Now this is where this recipe gets ultra easy cheesy. Now that my sausage is cooked, I'm adding in a jar of Alfredo sauce and then a jar of marinara sauce. You could use any type of marinara or Alfredo sauce you like. You could even make it homemade if you wanted to, but after I added that in, you will give this a good stir and then add in 19 ounces of either fresh or frozen cheese tortellini. I used frozen. Give it a good stir and then remove it from the heat. Hopping over to my 9x13 baking dish that I greased, I'm adding half of the tortellini that we made up. You'll just spread it out and then add about a half a cup of mozzarella cheese on top of that tortellini. And then you will add the remainder of the tortellini on top of that cheese and then sprinkle a cup of mozzarella cheese on the very top. This is going to bake covered in a preheated oven to 400 degrees for about 40 minutes and then uncover it and bake it for an additional 10 minutes. Here's my big plate of food. I serve this alongside of a side salad, and I'm sure you could guess this tortellini casserole was absolutely delicious. I was super busy on that particular day, so this was a great meal to make. This broccoli and cheese casserole has to be hands down one of my all-time favorite casseroles. So to get it started, in my saucepan right here, I'm adding 1 can of cream of mushroom soup, followed by 1 cup of sour cream, 1 cup of Colby Jack cheese, or you could use sharp cheddar cheese, whatever your preference is, and then 1 cup of these French onions. Go ahead and whisk this all together until it is well combined. I do want to mention, after it's well combined, you could add in cooked up chicken, shredded chicken, any type of cooked chicken you wanted to, but I didn't feel like adding chicken on this particular day, so I just added in my 2 12-ounce bags of frozen broccoli and then gave this a really good stir and then removed it from the heat. Over to my casserole dish, or you could use a 2-quart baking dish, whatever your preference is. I sprayed it with nonstick spray and then added that casserole mixture in. This will bake in a preheated oven to 325 degrees for about 25 to 30 minutes or until it is bubbly. After it is bubbly, just pull it out of the oven and then you'll sprinkle about 3/4 cup of those French's onions on top and then 3/4 cup of Colby Jack cheese. This will go back in your oven to bake for an additional 15 minutes or until the onions are starting to look crisp. Here's my plate of food. This is very, very good. I like to serve it as a main dish. Like I said before, you could always add cooked chicken to this to make it a little bit more bulky, but if you wanted to, this would also be great as a side dish. Now we're making this classic tater tot casserole. I haven't made tater tot casserole in a while. To begin, I'm going to dice up 1 onion into smaller pieces. Now moving over to my stove, I'm adding 1 pound of ground beef along with the onion right in there, and then you are just going to cook the ground beef completely through. Some of you guys might have seen me do this trick in the past, but my mom taught me it when I was growing up. With any of the grease left over in your pan after you cook your meat, just wiggle a paper towel around in there until all of it's absorbed. Now I'm going to be adding in the rest of the ingredients. About 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, a 1/2 teaspoon of thyme, a little dash of garlic powder and onion powder, and a dash of salt and pepper. Go ahead and give this a good stir. Now we're going to make up the mixture that will go over the top of everything. In this little bowl, I'm adding 1 can of cream of mushroom soup, followed by 2/3 cup of milk. Whisk this together. Over to my greased baking dish, or you could use an 8x8 baking dish. Pour the ground beef and onion mixture in there and then spread it out. Over the top of the ground beef mixture, you will be adding your tater tots. Just put them right next to each other until you could barely see that ground beef mixture. Now that our tater tots are right next to each other, pretty snug, looking cute, I'm going to be pouring the cream of mushroom soup mixture over the top that we made up. Try to do it as even as possible, but mine is always far from perfect. Over the top of everything, you will be sprinkling about a cup of Colby Jack cheese or sharp cheddar cheese. Bake this in a preheated oven to 350 degrees for about 45 to 50 minutes or until the top of the tater tots are golden and everything is heated through. This is my plate of food. I serve this alongside of a side salad. This is probably one of the easiest tater tot casseroles ever. It has great flavor and it just comes together in little to no time. Now we'll be making this ground beef and potato casserole. In my pan, I'm adding 1 pound of ground beef. You're just going to break it up and cook it through. I love this little meat masher. I do have it in my Amazon store if you want to get one for yourself, but now that my ground beef is cooked, I'm going to be seasoning it up so it's not bland. Just a little dash of salt and pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and thyme. I added about a 1/2 teaspoon of that onion powder, garlic powder, and thyme. And then the very last thing I'm adding is a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Give this a good stir and then go ahead and remove it from the heat. Over to this large bowl, I'm going to be adding my ground beef mixture in, along with a can of cream of cheddar soup and a can of cream of mushroom soup. I don't typically cook with a ton of cream of soups, but since we are using such few ingredients and I am trying to keep these fairly budget friendly, these are great additions to recipes. Go ahead and give this a good stir. The last of the ingredients I'm adding into this bowl is 3 cups of cubed frozen potatoes. I just used this brand from Walmart. And then 1/4 a cup of Colby Jack cheese, or you could use sharp cheddar, and a dash of salt and pepper. I sprayed my 2-quart casserole dish with plenty of nonstick spray just so cleanup is a little bit easier for me in the end. I'm adding this casserole in. I do want to mention all of these casseroles are so easy to double or half if you wanted to double them for a larger amount of people or half them. So after I spread that casserole out as even as possible, I'm adding 3/4 cup more cheese on top. Cover this with aluminum foil and bake it in a preheated oven to 350 degrees for 30 minutes. After those 30 minutes of baking, remove the foil and bake it for an additional 20 minutes uncovered. Here's my plate of food. I served my casserole with steamed peas. This casserole is ultra cheesy. So if you don't know yet, I love cheese, and this casserole was very fitting for me. I really liked it. I hope you found a casserole that you might be able to make for yourself. As always, if you're new here, I'd love to have you. So go ahead and subscribe down below the video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.